Hey everyone, welcome to Pastor Play. So today we have Mayfair Witches, Season 1, Episode 2, titled The Dark Place, streaming on AMC Plus and airing on AMC, the cable channel, tonight. So we open in Donalith, Scotland in 1681 with Suzanne and her sister going to pick for herbs to help their mother heal the sick. Then Suzanne ends up masturbating off this man, and then she starts to hear voices and looking up at crows fly in the sky. And then from there, and I'm assuming maybe this could possibly be maybe the original one of the original Mayfair witches or something, or maybe where it started with the Mayfair witches, origin wise. Then we come present with Rowan calling South Bay Adoption Agency to see if she can find out who her birth parents are, but realizes her mother, Ellie, has been lying to her. The agency opened in 1995, and Rowan was told every year that her mother had been trying to get information since 1991 on her birth parents' whereabouts or information about them. And with after the death of Rowan's mom, Ellie, Dr. Keck ends up pulling Rowan off of rotation to give her some time to kind of breathe, which she's not happy with. He tells her to go see the psychiatrist upstairs to sign a release to get her back to work. And in the session, Rowan ends up giving the therapist a migraine, and to the point where she ends up starting having a nosebleed, and then she kind of like just gets up and darts out of the session. When she gets to her car, there's like a bunch of just like white poop everywhere. It looks like I'm assuming it was pigeons, but they also look like they could be crows too. So I don't know, is it a thing of crows who follow Mayfair witches? I'm not honestly sure. But whether they were pigeon or crows, they're like pooped all over her car. And she starts doing the same thing where she sees like the little bird brains, and then she starts tearing through arteries, and then just like three different birds just end up falling on her car, and she kills three of them. And at this point, Agent Seapreeve is following and kind of watching her, taking pictures of her and whatnot, just kind of seeing what she's doing, just basically observing her kind of life. And then Rowan ends up taking these three dead birds, and she goes to the beach to kind of bury them in the sand. Then she ends up taking I think a Xanax, or an alprazolam, and she like falls asleep on the beach. But then she like wakes up to this bonfire wager, with like this kind of, it looks like a motorcycle gang, but like younger people, not like older people. Sometimes you get like these older like older bicycle gangs, but in this case it's like this young group of like, and they're just like on their motorcycles, you know, having music and partying just around her, and she's just like kind of curled up on the beach. It was actually kind of funny. And when she gets up and she starts walking towards her car, she ends up calling out Cyprieve to come out because she knows she's being followed. And he's like, calm down, I'm not trying to hurt you. Let's go somewhere and talk. And as she's kind of like walking faster to kind of get away from him or backing away, he ends up like touching her hand. And it seems like she inadvertently end up doing something to him too, like, I don't know, severing an artery in his brain or whatever. And he ends up passing out. And she starts like, I guess kind of giving him CPR. And then she ends up calling 911, and an ambulance ends up coming, and then she ends up using this moment to take his cell phone and open it up, puts it over his face while he's in the ambulance. None of the people saw this, of course, but she ends up using that to open the phone and look through his photos, and she ends up seeing a photo of her mother, who's now passed away, Ellie, with Deidre, who she doesn't know that it's her mother at this point, but it says Cousins, New Orleans, 1990. And then at this point, once Seaprieve and the ambulance gets to the hospital, he basically pulls the IV out of his arm and then runs away. And when Rowan, who follows them there to the hospital, she finds this out. She ends up booking a plane to New Orleans and basically trying to find the house in that photo. Now we go back to New Orleans, and Deidre has kind of awakened now from this medicated coma state, and Lasher lets her know that Rowan is on the way to them, and that he has been in Rowan's dreams, kind of leading her to come to New Orleans, giving her visions and dreams and whatnot. And once kind of Deidre is awake in her room, alone, her and Lasher, they get busy. And because I guess that she's, well, she's older now, but Rowan is also feeling the sex apparently that's going on between Lasher and her birth mom on the plane. And so she's on a plane, and like, it was like really weird because like this is, and I don't know if Lasher could also be her father. Again, I have not read the books, but like, was it Patrick that got her pregnant, or was it Lasher? Like, I'm not exactly sure whether he's the same people or different people, whatever. Because he can make different faces. He could have already been at the party or something. Who knows? But it's possible that Lasher and Deidre are, could be the father and the mother combo of Rowan. So it's very interesting. But either way, it's still weird because it's her mom or and her father, or just her mom. And so I don't know, I just thought that was really weird, but okay. And then so the next morning, Deidre ends up leaving, and like the maid or her caretaker Delphine just kind of lets her go. She's like, okay, go ahead. Like, I've been seeing them drug you and all this stuff. So she just kind of lets Deidre leave her aunt's house, and she ends up going to her uncle's for help. And she basically asks her uncle to help her and to help Rowan when Rowan gets to New Orleans, and she ends up using Lasher to see that Rowan's already in New Orleans, and so she ends up going to to that hotel. And Rowan receives a call from Seaprieve saying that they need to meet so he can explain everything to her. And then also earlier in this episode, he called his kind of supervisor manager, for the agency that he's with, basically let him know that, that they should tell Rowan everything. She's kind of lost out here. She doesn't know what's going on. It's kind of, tearing her apart. And, the man is basically like, no, don't tell her anything. Your job is just to observe. But either way, Cyprian was like, she needs to know the information. So he's kind of going off a book here. He's kind of doing what he feels is the right thing to do, which I think in the end is going to probably help Rowan. So she's not just out here not knowing anything. And so either way, she does again. She decides to go. She decides to meet Cyprian like down in the main lobby in like 5 minutes. And as Rowan is waiting for the elevator to come up so it can take her down, to the lobby, Deidre gets on the elevator to go up. And when the doors open, they are face to face, Deidre and Rowan. And then blood just start running down Deidre's neck, and um, then it kind of her neck kind of slices open a little bit, where it looks like her neck has been slit, and her body just collapses. Rowan starts screaming for help, just starts screaming, and the episode ends there. Since I'm behind on the first episode, I have not uploaded the first episode. You let me know if you want me to do the first episode. But either way, I really so far I like these first two episodes. I really did like shows like Charmed. I remember the show like Craft, Harry Potter. I've always liked stuff with magic, so I'm kind of waiting for more magic, like more than I can see the arteries or the membranes in your brain and tearing it. Like, I'm ready to see like flying and like magical fire and electricity coming out of their hands and levitation. Like, I'm waiting to see some stuff like that, telekinetics, whatever. I'm waiting to see like some real like for her to use like some real powers. So whether that means fighting Lasher or whatever, I don't know. But I'm kind of waiting for that. I mean, this is only the second episode, but a lot has happened between the first and the second episode. I think it's moving pretty fast and steady. I think it's pretty focused in what they're doing. Again, I've not read these trilogy of books. I don't know. I don't know. Is it falling in line with, with the books or the first book, The Witching Hour? But so far, I do like the characters. I do want to see where it's going to go. Is Rowan going to be corrupted or influenced by Lasher like her mother and apparently the previous Mayfair witches? Is she going to make a more informed decision? Is she going to listen to her aunts? Is she going to listen to Seaprieve, her uncle? Like, who is she going to get advice from? Who's going to kind of be her advisor? Um, I'm kind of excited to see where it's going to go in those senses. I do want to see more magical powers, though, because I'm like a kid at heart when it comes to these things. Like, I want to see more magic. That's what I really want to see. I don't mind if the story is good. I think the script so far is good. I don't know how far they're kind of going along within the confines of the actual books. Are they following that story to the T? Are they, kind of going off and kind of making changes, to adapt for television, which I'm assuming they're going to do that if they haven't already kind of done it and changed up some things already. But so far, I do like the first two episodes. But again, let me know what you think. If you have read the books, how far is the adaptation of it into TV? These first two episodes so far. You haven't seen that much of Lasser. I do feel like you have a sense of his character. Um, he does seem to let you know he's all these different things and not one specific thing. So if you assume that he's good, then I guess that's your assumption, but it doesn't really seem like he is. He does seem like a manipulator and charming and different and kind of a snake. But then her uncle seems kind of like a snake too. The uncle, like, you can't trust him either. Um, a lot of the men just come off, yeah, a lot of the men in this show come off kind of sleazy and snaky. To think about it, Seaprieve may seem to maybe be one of the decent characters, but I guess only the time will tell to see if that turns out to be true too. But yeah, I'm so far it's pretty good. But yeah, let me know what you all think. If you have read the book, how has the adaptation been? Are they just kind of creating their own story here? Are they following kind of the books to an extent? Other than that, hit the like button if you like this review. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I know they're trying. AMC's trying to build out this Anne Rice world. So you have the interview with the vampire, the first series. I can't wait to see that second season. I do wish that the seasons were a little bit longer for interview. I wish they at least did 10 episodes. But either way, I'm excited to see what they do with this show too. We'll see. But either way, again, hit the like button if you like this. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Other than that, I will see you next time, and bye.